Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. This morning we'll be in Job chapter 4, verse 1 through chapter 7, verse 21. Job's suffered all this calamity in his life. He curses the day of his birth, and then Job chapter 4, verse 1, Eliphaz the Temanite answered, "If someone should attempt a word with you, will you be impatient? But who can refrain from speaking? Look, you have instructed many, you have strengthened feeble hands, your words have supported those who stumbled, and you have strengthened the knees that gave way. But now the same thing comes to you, and you are discouraged. It strikes you, and you are terrified. Is not your piety your confidence, and your blameless ways your hope? Call to mind now, who being innocent ever perished, and where were upright people ever destroyed? Even as I have seen, those who plow iniquity and those who sow trouble reap the same. By the breath of God they perish, by the blast of his anger they are consumed. There is the roaring of the lion, and the growling of the young lion, but the teeth of the young lions are broken. The mighty lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. Now a word was secretly brought to me, and my ear caught a whisper of it, in the troubling thoughts of the dreams in the night, when a deep sleep falls on men. A trembling gripped me, and a terror, and made all my bones shake. Then a breath of air passed by my face. It makes the hairs of my flesh stand up. It stands still, but I cannot recognize its appearance. An image is before my eyes, and I hear a murmuring voice. Is a mortal man righteous before God, or a man pure before his Creator? If God puts no trust in his servants, and attributes folly to his angels, how much more to those who live in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like a moth? They are destroyed between morning and evening. They perish forever, without anyone regarding it. Is not their excess wealth taken away from them? They die, yet without attaining wisdom. Call now. Is there anyone who will answer you? To which of the holy ones will you turn? For wrath kills the foolish person, and anger slays the silly one. I myself have seen the fool taking root, but suddenly I cursed his place of residence. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed at the place where judgment is rendered, nor is there anyone to deliver them. The hungry eat up his harvest, and take it even from behind the thorns, and the thirsty swallow up their fortune. For evil does not come from the dust, nor does trouble spring up from the ground, but people are born to trouble as surely as the sparks fly upward. But as for me, I would seek God, and to God I would set forth my case. He does great and unsearchable things, marvelous things without number. He gives rain on the earth, and sends water on the fields. He sets the lowly on high, that those who mourn are raised to safety. He frustrates the plans of the crafty, so that their hands cannot accomplish what they had planned. He catches the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the cunning is brought to a quick end. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope about in the noontime as if it were night. So he saves from the sword that comes from their mouth, even the poor from the hands of the powerful. Thus the poor have hope, and iniquity shuts its mouth. Therefore, blessed is the man whom God corrects. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty. For he wounds, but he also bandages. He strikes, but his hand also heals. He will deliver you from 6 calamities. Yes, in 7, no evil will touch you. In time of famine he will redeem you from death, and in time of war from the power of the sword. You will be protected from malicious gossip, and will not be afraid of the destruction when it comes. You will laugh at destruction and famine, and need not be afraid of the beasts of the earth. For you will have a pact with the stones of the field, and the wild animals will be at peace with you. And you will know that your home will be secure, and when you inspect your domains, you will not be missing anything. You will also know that your children will be numerous, and your descendants like the grass of the earth. You will come to your grave in a full age, as stacks of grain are harvested in their season. Look, we have investigated this, so it is true. Hear it, and apply it for your own good. Then Job responded, "Oh, if only my grief could be weighed, and my misfortune laid on the scales too. But because it is heavier than the sands of the sea, that is why my words have been wild. For the arrows of the Almighty are within me. My spirit drinks their poison. God's sudden terrors are arrayed against me. Does the wild donkey bray when it nears grass? Or does the ox low near its fodder? Can food that is tasteless be eaten without salt? Or is there any taste in the white of an egg? I've refused to touch such things. They are like loathsome food to me. Oh, that my request would be realized, and that God would grant me what I long for, and that God would be willing to crush me, that he would let loose his hand and kill me. Then I would yet have my comfort. Then I would rejoice in spite of pitiless pain, for I have not concealed the words of the Holy One. What is my strength, that I should wait, and what is my end, that I should prolong my life? Is my strength like that of stones, or is my flesh made of bronze? Is not my power to help myself nothing, and has not every resource been driven from me? To the one in despair, kindness should come from his friend, even if he forsakes the fear of the Almighty. My brothers have been as treacherous as a seasonal stream, and as the riverbeds of the intermittent streams that flow away. They are dark because of ice. Snow is piled up over them. When they are scorched, they dry up. When it is hot, they vanish from their place. Caravans turn aside from their routes. They go into the wasteland and perish. The caravans of Tema look intently for these streams. The traveling merchants of Sheba hoped for them. They were distressed because each one had been so confident. They arrived there, but were disappointed. For now you have become like these streams that are no help. You see a terror and are afraid. Have I ever said, give me something, and from your fortune make gifts in my favor? Or deliver me from the enemy's power, and from the hands of tyrants ransom me? Teach me, and I for my part will be silent. Explain to me how I have been mistaken. How painful are honest words. But what does your reproof prove? Do you intend to criticize mere words, and treat the words of a despairing man as wind? Yes, you would gamble for the fatherless and auction off your friend. Now then, be good enough to look at me, and I will not lie to your face. Relent, let there be no falsehood. Reconsider, for my righteousness is intact. Is there any falsehood on my lips? Can my mouth not discern evil things? Does not humanity have hard service on earth? Are not their days also like the days of a hired man? Like a servant longing for the evening shadow, and like a hired man looking for his wages. Thus I have been made to inherit months of futility, and nights of sorrow have been appointed to me. If I lie down, I say, when will I arise? And the night stretches on, and I toss and turn restlessly, until the day dawns. My body is clothed with worms and dirty scabs. My skin is broken and festering. My days are swifter than weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without hope. Remember that my life is but a breath, that my eyes will never again see happiness. The eye of him who sees me now will see me no more. Your eyes will look for me, but I will be gone. As a cloud is dispersed and then disappears, so the one who goes down to the grave does not come up again. He returns no more to his house, nor does his place of residence know him any more. Therefore I will not refrain my mouth. I will speak in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I the sea or the creature of the deep that you must put me under guard? If I say, my bed will comfort me, my couch will ease my complaint, then you scare me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that I would prefer strangling and death more than life. I loathe it. I do not want to live forever. Leave me alone, for my days are a vapor. What is mankind? That you make so much of them, and that you pay attention to them, and that you visit them every morning and try them every moment. Will you never look away from me? Will you not let me alone long enough to swallow my spittle? If I have sinned, what have I done to you, a watcher of men? Why have you set me as your target? Have I become a burden to you? And why do you not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I will lie down in the dust, and you will seek me diligently, but I will be gone. So Eliphaz answers Job here in chapter 4, and his primary push, I think, starts in 4 verse 7. Call to mind now, who, being innocent, ever perished, and where were upright people ever destroyed? The assertion being that Job must have sinned to bring this calamity upon himself. And backing it up, he mentions this vision as proof of this. In Job 4:12, now a word was secretly brought to me, and my ear caught a whisper of it. And this thing passes by his face, it stands still, and he hears a murmuring, is a mortal man righteous before God, or a man pure before his Creator? So, he essentially lays this at the foot of Job, that you're not righteous before God, and so God has smited you, and your and you need to get right with God. And he talks all about how the just are so delivered from calamity. 5:19, he will deliver you from 6 calamity, yes, and 7, no evil will touch you. In the time of famine, he will redeem you from death, blah, blah, blah. So, and at 27, he's like, look, we have investigated this, so it is true. Hear it and apply it for your own good. It's just like really thoughtless, I think, saying this in front of a man who's just lost his possessions. 5:25, you will also know that your children will be numerous and your descendants like the grass of the earth. And it's just like, he just lost all of his children, man. And Job responds in anguish. Can't take this much more. Is my strength like that of stones, or is my flesh made of bronze? Can't resist. He's just made out of flesh. But he realizes that his friend's words don't actually mean anything in his current situation. He pleads his righteousness. Job 6:29, relent, let there be no falsehood, reconsider, for my righteousness is intact. Yeah. Okay, carrying on. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verses 18 through 40. I thank God that I speak in tongues more than all of you. But in the church, I want to speak 5 words with my mind to instruct others, rather than 10,000 words in tongue. Brothers and sisters, do not be children in your thinking. Instead, be infants in evil, but in your thinking be mature. It is written in the law, by people with strange tongues, and by the lips of strangers I will speak to this people, yet not even in this way will they listen to me, says the Lord. So then tongues are a sign, not for believers, but for unbelievers. Prophecy, however, is not for unbelievers, but for believers. So if the whole church comes together, and all speak in tongues, and unbelievers or uninformed people enter, will they not say that you have lost your minds? But if all prophesy, and an unbeliever or uninformed person enters, he will be convicted by all. He will be called to account by all. The secrets of his heart are disclosed, and in this way he will fall down with his face to the ground and worship God, declaring, God is really among you. What should you do then, brothers and sisters? When you come together, each one has a song, has a lesson, has a revelation, has a tongue, has an interpretation. Let all these things be done for the strengthening of the church. If someone speaks in a tongue, it should be 2, or at the most 3, one after the other, and someone must interpret. But if there is no interpreter, he should be silent in the church. Let him speak to himself and to God. 2 or 3 prophets should speak, and the others should evaluate what is said. And if someone sitting down receives a revelation, the person who is speaking should conclude. For you can all prophesy one after another, so all can learn and be encouraged. Indeed, the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. For God is not characterized by disorder, but by peace, as in all the churches of the saints. The women should be silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak. Rather, let them be in submission, as in fact the law says. If they want to find out about something, they should ask their husbands at home, because it is disgraceful for a woman to speak in church. Did the word of God begin with you, or did it come to you alone? If anyone considers himself a prophet or spiritual person, he should acknowledge that what I write to you is the Lord's command. If someone does not recognize this, he is not recognized. So then, brothers and sisters, be eager to prophesy, and do not forbid anyone from speaking in tongues, and do everything in a decent and orderly manner. So, I've always thought this portion is interesting. You've got this section on tongues, and then one on prophecy, and Paul continues highlighting how prophecy is the superior gift, because if all prophesy and an unbeliever or an uninformed person enters, he will be convicted by all. He will be called to account by all. The secrets of his heart are disclosed, and in this way he will fall down with his face to the ground and worship God, declaring God is really among you. And puts a limit on the amount of people speaking tongues. And on those who prophesy. And if, in particular, verse 30, if someone sitting down receives a revelation, the person who is speaking should conclude. That is something that I feel is very far removed from most of the gatherings that I've been to in the past. And then we have this verse, this section about women being silent in the churches. And my understanding of it is that there was a situation where women would be talking, essentially, during when you were trying to get these when you were trying to grow the body of Christ, that is, through these prophecies and songs and all of the things that Paul lists out here. You had people, in particular women, who were just talking about their days and chattering rather than actually participating, I suppose. So in this way, Paul the opposite of permit doesn't allow these women to speak in church. So okay, carrying on. Psalm 37 verses 30 through 40. The godly speak wise words and promote justice. The law of their God controls their thinking. Their feet do not slip. Evil men set an ambush for the godly and try to kill them. But the Lord does not surrender the godly or allow them to be condemned in a court of law. Rely on the Lord. Obey his commands. Then he will permit you to possess the land. You will see the demise of evil men. I have seen ruthless evil men growing in influence, like a green tree grows in its native soil. But then one passes by, and suddenly they have disappeared. I looked for them, but they could not be found. Take note of the one who has integrity. Observe the godly. For the one who promotes peace has a future. Sinful rebels are totally destroyed. Evil men have no future. But the Lord delivers the godly. He protects them in times of trouble. The Lord helps them and rescues them. He rescues them from evil men and delivers them, for they seek his protection. Interesting, juxtaposed with Job. Yeah. I think it's an instance of it being, by and large, the Lord protects those who are godly. And even uh, he definitely protects their spiritual life. He sometimes protects their physical life, but must be reminded that even Jesus, the one who is most godly, most spiritual, most righteous, was sentenced to death on a cross. So this is a generality, I would say. Proverbs 21, verse 27. The wicked person's sacrifice is an abomination, how much more when he brings it with evil intent. Yep. Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. Hope you have a great day. Bye.